Alright, folks, buckle up because we're about to dive into a major NFL MVP debate that might leave you questioning what truly makes a candidate worthy. We're talking Joe Burrow, yes. The Cincinnati Bengals quarterback who led the NFL in passing yards and touchdowns this season, but still might not get the MVP. Why, you ask? Well, because, apparently, winning a bunch of games is now the MVP standard. And, spoiler alert, the Bengals didn't make the playoffs this year. But wait, did Joe Burrow just say nobody was playing better than him? Yep, he did, and he's got a point. Stick around, because this MVP race is about to get messy. And we're breaking it all down with some good old-fashioned humor and hot takes. Joe Burrow's MVP case. Okay, let's set the stage here. The NFL MVP debate is typically all about the star quarterbacks. We've got Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens and Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills grabbing most of the spotlight. Both of those guys are phenomenal players. No question. But, hold on a second, Joe Burrow is over here quietly going, "Excuse me, but did anyone notice I threw for almost 5.000 yards, 43 touchdowns, and completed over 70% of my passes?" Yeah, you read that right. The guy is dropping numbers like it's nothing. And yet, Burrow isn't in the MVP conversation as much as he should be, mostly because, well, his team missed the playoffs. The Bengals got off to a rough start, losing 4 out of their first 5 games. But here's the twist, despite that, Burrow led the league in passing yards and touchdowns. Think about it, he's putting up career-high numbers, while his team is trying to dig themselves out of an early season hole. But even as the Bengals season spiraled a little out of control, Burrow never lost his form. Burrow's comments about not winning the MVP? Classic Burrow. Confident, but humble. "I don't think anybody was playing any better than I was this year," he told USA Today Sports. And honestly, who can argue with that? It's a tough break that his team couldn't make the playoffs. But the guy was on fire in every single game he played. Sorry, Lamar and Josh, but that's some cold hard competition right there. The Bengals' slow start, and Burrow's take. But, of course, there's that little issue of the Bengals' slow start. Like, really slow. Burrow doesn't shy away from admitting it. "We just have to execute better early in the year." And you know what? He's absolutely right. It wasn't like the Bengals were bad throughout the season. They caught fire by the end, winning 5 straight games. But the damage was already done from those early losses. It's like trying to get your car started on a cold morning. Takes a little longer than you'd like. And by the time it's humming, you're already late for your meeting. So, what's the plan for next season? Well, according to Burrow, they'll be having those conversations all offseason about how to fix those slow starts. Not to mention, he's already looking at keeping that offense intact. Speaking of which, keeping the core together, let's talk about Joe's dream team for a minute. Ja'Marr Chase. The Ja'Marr Chase, who's out here making defenders look silly with his insane receptions, yards, and touchdowns. The dude led the NFL in receptions, 127. Yards, 1.708. And touchdowns, 17. And guess what? Burrow's already on it. He wants Chase back. And he's ready to make it happen. He said, "We're gonna re-sign him. It's just a matter of when." That's some quarterback-to-receiver BFF energy right there. Who wouldn't want to play with your best bud who literally makes you look like a superhero? And then there's Higgins, who also had an insane season, with 10 touchdowns of his own. Burrow's got big plans here, too. Hopefully we can do what it takes to get him back. Basically, Burrow's laying the groundwork to ensure his weapons stick around for another run at the playoffs, and, fingers crossed, maybe even the MVP race, the realities of the debate. Now, let's talk about the big MVP picture. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, both are incredible players. But when you look at the numbers, it's hard to ignore Burrow's insane stats. The guy was a beast. And if MVP was truly about individual performance, Burrow might have made a stronger case for himself. But alas, the MVP often comes down to one thing: winning. And with the Bengals' rough start to the season, Burrow got overlooked in the MVP conversation. But is that fair? Is MVP just about having the best stats? Or does it come down to winning games, making the playoffs, and dominating when it matters most? If that's the case, Burrow might have gotten snubbed this season. But, you know what? We've seen Burrow rise from tough situations before. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see him come back stronger than ever next season. Because when you've got the kind of swagger and skill that Burrow's packing, you don't stay down for long. Conclusion. So, what do you think? Should Joe Burrow have been a serious contender for MVP this year? Or does the MVP award belong to Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen? I mean, let's be real. If you're putting up nearly 5.000 yards and 43 touchdowns with a slow start and still almost making the playoffs, I'd say you've earned a seat at the MVP table. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell so you never miss out on more NFL drama, stats breakdowns, and of course, some hilarious takes. Catch you next time, folks. Outro. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Stay tuned for more wild NFL updates and let's see how the MVP race shakes out. Maybe next season we'll see Joe Burrow's name at the top of the list, after the Bengals get their slow start fix. Until next time, keep your game face on and stay fired up. Super Bowl 59 preview. Eagles stand as the final obstacle in Chiefs' historic three-peat attempt. Introduction. Super Bowl 59 is almost here, and it's shaping up to be a historic matchup between two powerhouses in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Chiefs, led by the incomparable Patrick Mahomes, are aiming for something that no team has accomplished in over 2 decades, a three-peat. They've already made history by winning back-to-back Super Bowls, and now, all that stands between them and NFL immortality is the high-flying Philadelphia Eagles. Can the Chiefs make it 3 in a row? Or will the Eagles play spoiler and create some history of their own? Buckle up, folks. This one's going to be a wild ride. The clash of the Titans. In one corner, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, reigning champions and the first team to make it to 3 consecutive Super Bowls. Their 17-2 record has been the talk of the NFL. And with their dynamic offense and opportunistic defense, they are primed for another championship run. But standing in their way are the Philadelphia Eagles, who come into the game with an impressive 17-3 record. They've been on a tear, with only 1 loss since September, and that was when their star quarterback Jalen Hurts went down with an injury. This is no ordinary game. This is a clash of the 2 best teams in the league. And both have something to prove. The Chiefs are looking to cement their dynasty, while the Eagles are determined to take down the giant and make their own Super Bowl history. How the Eagles can win. If Philadelphia is going to pull off the upset, it's likely going to come down to their ability to establish the run game. The Chiefs' defense has been solid, but they have been more vulnerable to the run, especially in their playoff games where they allowed over 140 yards rushing. Enter Saquon Barkley, a beast on the ground and one of the most explosive running backs in the league. The Eagles' offensive line is also one of the best in the business. And if they can create holes for Barkley, it could be a long day for the Chiefs. On the defensive side, the Eagles will have their hands full with Mahomes and his weapons. However, they've been elite this season, ranking as one of the best defenses in the NFL. With pass rushers like Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox, the Eagles are well equipped to get pressure on Mahomes and disrupt his rhythm. Philadelphia's ability to contain the Chiefs' offense, particularly Mahomes' deep passes, could be the key to pulling off the win. How the Chiefs can win. For the Chiefs, it's all about maintaining balanced play. While Mahomes is the engine that powers the team, the Chiefs have morphed into a more well-rounded squad over the past couple of seasons. Their defense has been stout, ranking in the top 10 for both points and yards allowed. But the offense has been inconsistent at times. However, with a week of preparation, Kansas City could unleash a vintage Mahomes performance, and they'll likely need it. The Chiefs will also look for key contributions from their wide receivers, particularly DeAndre Hopkins, who has been somewhat of a disappointment since joining the team mid-season. Hopkins has been quiet in the postseason, but if there's ever a time for him to step up, it's now. The Eagles have been great at defending tight ends, which could lead to Hopkins getting more opportunities to make a difference on the outside. Additionally, the Chiefs will need their defensive line to step up. While their defense has improved overall, they're going to need a big performance from Chris Jones and company to keep Jalen Hurts from controlling the game with his legs and arm. The Chiefs' defense must get Hurts uncomfortable in the pocket and disrupt the Eagles' offensive rhythm. X Factor. DeAndre Hopkins' potential for a big game. Speaking of Hopkins, the Chiefs' big mid-season acquisition has had a rather underwhelming impact so far, tallying only 437 yards and 4 touchdowns in 10 regular season games. However, this is the Super Bowl. Big names, big moments. It's possible that Andy Reid and the Chiefs coaching staff have something special planned for Hopkins. Whether it's utilizing him in the deep passing game or making him the focal point in the red zone. The Chiefs have often been known for unpredictable, game-changing performances from players who weren't necessarily in the spotlight heading into the game. Hopkins could become that unexpected hero. And if he catches fire, it could give the Chiefs the edge they need to complete their three-peat. Prediction. This is a hard-fought prediction. The Kansas City Chiefs have been the most dominant team in one-score games in NFL history, winning 17 consecutive games decided by 7 points or less. This streak is no accident. With Andy Reid's coaching, Patrick Mahomes' clutch ability, and a defense that steps up when it matters most, the Chiefs know how to win close games, something they've proven time and time again in this playoff run. However, the Philadelphia Eagles are no slouches. They have one of the most balanced teams in the NFL. With a defense that can go toe-to-toe with any offense in the league and an offense that can overpower opponents with their dynamic running game and capable passing attack. Jalen Hurts has been fantastic all season long, and the Eagles have a team that can disrupt the Chiefs in all phases of the game. The Eagles' ability to control the clock and keep Mahomes off the field